Hey everybody, welcome once again to another Lone Host Rambling, where I go over some of the things I've been doing recently. Today is May 6th, 2012, and I just want to say, how's everybody doing? I'm doing pretty good, better than the last couple of months or weeks and whatnot. Been kind of doing a lot of gaming, but I'll probably do a whole other separate video on that, because I've been really gaming ad nauseum. But I have also been watching a bunch of things too, and other things have been kind of going on. I just want to give everybody else kind of update on the house that I'm currently foreclosing. Last week there was a big sign that basically said like a default management company was taking over it. Later on in that week they decided to cut the lawn and everything, and then of course just a couple days ago they decided to actually switch out the locks and everything, which is kind of interesting because after somebody broke in and stole the copper, I kind of boarded that place up. Like I mentioned before, I put nails in the window panes and everything, made sure you couldn't really easily break into it. So I was really interested to see how they got in. Apparently they came in through the kitchen window, and they almost broke that window when they kind of bowed out the frame to get in. But now they chained off the locks, and that's fine by me now. Officially the bank is basically in charge of the house, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. And going forward, it's nice, because that's basically one less thing for me to have to worry about. It is kind of sad to reflect on it, because foreclosure rates are skyrocketing in Florida in general. Just checking any news reports, I think we're almost currently year to date the number of foreclosures that were in 2011 in total. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all kind of pans out. But just want to give everybody an update on that. So it's kind of nice because that's just one less thing for me to worry about. The house is almost officially closed chapter of my life. But moving on, let's go talk about what I've been watching. A bunch of movies and whatnot. Some of them old, some of them new. Let's go ahead and start here. One of the movies I watched recently was, of course, Men in Tights. For some reason, I was basically kind of moved to watch an old classic Mel Brooks film, in which case Men in Tights just basically clicked. I've been watching a lot of the Chappelle Show again, so that's kind of maybe why I also want to see it. But it's just a great old film to rewatch it. You know, if you haven't seen it in a long time, or if you have kids and they've never seen it, it's still just a really good film. I really recommend it to any good classic comedy fan to give Men in Black, not Men in Black, Men in Tights a watch. Good old Lincoln. The next movie I'm going to talk about is going to be the new Sherlock Homes movie. In which case, I mentioned before, I rewatched the first one in anticipation of seeing this one, and I enjoyed it. I really like the second Sherlock Holmes movie. A lot of people think it was lesser than the first one. I'm going to say it's just on par. For me, it was basically not better or worse. It had its high points and low points, but still a good old film worth watching, and I really recommend watching the films because you gotta love Downey Jr.'s Sherlock. It's just very, very good. He's a good, iconic character. Moving on, the next movie I'm going to talk about is going to be Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Not a huge big Mission Impossible fan, but when you want an action movie and you want a lot of spy tech and stuff, this is kind of the way to go because, you know, the James Bond films, the new ones, have gone more of the grittier type of way with not that many gadgets. Seeing a good kind of classic gadget film was actually pretty fun. It's just a good, solid action flick, and, you know, say what you might about Tom Cruise or whatnot, or the Mission Impossible franchise, it's just a solid, good action movie, and I really recommend people to watch it. I mean, you might be thinking, oh, it's not worth it. It is worth a movie to watch, and I really recommend it to people. Action-packed. Moving on, next movie we'll talk about is going to be The Adjustment Bureau. I mentioned this on my Facebook thing. I'm a big Matt Damon fan. Before even The Bourne Identity, I kind of like have a man crush on him that started with Talented Mr. Ripley, which is an awesome film that I still need to rewatch. But Darren had mentioned The Adjustment Bureau, which I had kind of kept an eye on, but because I read the synopsis where it's like, a guy wants to hook up with a dancer and somebody's trying to stop them, it's like, whatever. But then once you realize it definitely has kind of a dark city type of vibe to it, you're like, oh wow, this is a really good film. I was really super pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed this movie. And I really want to recommend it to people who want to, like, I don't know, basically, it's a good date chick. If you have a chick or whatnot, you're married, you have a girlfriend or whatnot, it's definitely worth a movie to kind of watch with them. They can't argue with it because it's kind of almost suspenseful action comedy, romance movie. It's just really good. I really recommend it to everybody. It's great acting, great story, great premise, very kind of high up there, but not too high up there. So, very good movie, The Adjustment Bureau. Next movie we'll talk about is Underworld. Kind of enjoyed the Underworld series. I mean, it's just kind of those little guilty pleasures. But considering how vampires have been kind of downgraded as of late, it's nice to see a nice, visceral, bloody vampire movie. In which case, Underworld Awakening is great. It's not as good as the prequel, which a lot of people, like the origin story kind of the Underworld thing, a lot of people enjoyed more, and I guess I did too. But this is still just a good, solid film of just, you know, vampires, werewolves, humans, and just the conflict that comes along, and just a lot of good action sequences, a lot of good blood and guts, and it's just a very good, fun movie to watch. It's just nice you kind of wash your palate of the Twilight stuff, which I want to say I've never read a Twilight book or watched a Twilight movie. I'm very proud to say that. Moving on here, next movie I'm going to talk about is going to be Chronicle. Now, this is a movie I was kind of, it wasn't on my radar at all. But then basically Movie Bob, the one movie reviewer guy, recommended it, and when it popped up, I'm like, hey, I'll check it out. It's almost along the theme of Jumper, which was that horrible kind of teleporting movie about that kid that could teleport. And then they did a movie called Push, which I didn't even watch, but it basically dealt with more telekinetic powers, in which this is what this movie kind of deals around. Three teenage boys kind of get telekinetic powers and how they deal with it. It's shot from that found footage, kind of not shaky cam, but personal cam view, in which case some people like it or don't like it. I, for some reason, enjoy this movie immensely. I thought it was really good at kind of a nice actual take of what kids would do. Not over the top, not some big Hollywood over-exaggeration Michael Bay thing of it. Just how the guys would actually deal with it, and kind of each one of them and how their own personal neurosis and just their personalities deal with it and how they interact with each other. It's just a very good film. I really recommend it to people who are on the fence about it. It's definitely better than those crappy Jumper and Push movies. So, Chronicle, I give it a watch. Next movie I'm going to talk about is The Avengers. Everybody should have seen The Avengers by the time I'm posting. So all my fans, friends that we were thinking about trying to get together and seeing this and just couldn't organize it, I know they all went to go see it. Darren saw a van screen of it. It's a great movie. It really does, probably one of the best, if not the best, comic book movies. It is nonstop action, because luckily all the exposition, all the explainy bullcrap is done in all the people's origin movies. So now it's just an action-packed movie, and Joss Whedon did an excellent job with this. And you can kind of see his hallmarks here and there with the Hulk and Thor and whatnot. But it's just a really good movie, and I really recommend everybody to watch it however they can. However they can. Watch this movie. It's definitely worth it, and it's just really, really good. It just gives hope to kind of movies in general and what they can be when placed in the right hands and have the right actors and everything, because all the actors are just superb. And then, of course, the last thing I want to talk about is My Little Pony Canterlot Wedding. The Season 2 finale for My Little Pony happened, in which case, as I mentioned before, I enjoy My Little Pony. I basically didn't watch the first season at all. I basically kind of got hooked into it in between the two seasons, so this was the first full season I got to watch live as it is, and the season finale was a two-parter wedding one, which was okay. I didn't enjoy as much as the season 1 finale, the gala one, because I liked at the gala song better. But this is one of the 3 songs from the Canterlot Wedding, and it's still a good episode. Got a great action sequence at the end, and I mean, a lot of people will roll their eyes at My Little Pony, but this just once again just goes to show how high the production values are for this show, and that's where a lot of people are like, why do you watch it? It's because it has such really good production qualities. It looks fantastic, the music is great, the character design is great, the character development, it's very kind of more refined and not mature, but more just, I don't know, respectful than what you might think it is. But that's really kind of about it. I've just been watching a bunch of things, playing a lot of video games, in which case once again I will do a post separate of that. But as always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.